Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to my industry chat. I am so excited for this chat because honestly, I haven't really been excited about the design side. I'm all business, teaching you how to grow a profitable business. But when Mike Peterson called me and explained to me what he is up to lately, I thought, okay, I have to do a live in this group and let everyone know. So welcome, Mike. I'm so happy to have you here.
Nancy, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. Hello,
So
everybody.
tell everybody about, okay, first let's start with who you are over the years and what took you up to this point today. And then let's get into the exciting news about the Science and Design Summit.
Okay. Well, my background is mostly in publishing. I was publisher or advertising director of House Beautiful magazine, Country Living magazine, Colonial Homes magazine, more recently Lux magazine. In all of that experience, I spent so much time working with interior designers, and especially with Lux magazine. I work very closely, personally, with local designers in several different markets around the country. And a couple of years ago, what leads me into this subject today is a couple of years ago, I had lunch with an architect in Denver named Don Ruggles. And during the lunch, Don started talking about how beauty affects people, beauty and design affects people, and that it actually improves their health. And truly a light bulb went on for me, and I just became fascinated with the subject, and to the point that I decided to leave the publishing world and go full time and pursue this thought that designers actually improve the health of their clients.
And you know what? I feel like gutturally, we all know that, but it's never really had the science behind it. And now it seems like it's starting to emerge, right?
Yeah, for years, last 30 or 40 years, we've known that, when we can walk into a room and the client says, "Oh my gosh, I love it. Oh, I feel so good in here." Well, that's anecdotal. It's not provable. It's not documentable. But today, because of what neuroscience and the medical industry have done, we now know we can measure the biometrics, the cardio, through scanning technology. We now know that when we see something of beauty, we get a big burst of serotonin. And that's what designers do. They create beauty, and thereby they lower heart rate, and it's all provable. Heart rate, blood pressure, we can now measure through biometrics. We can measure something called GSR. Now, I'm a mystery book reader, and I first thought, what, gunshot residue? What? And so, no, it's galvanic skin response. All these things that are being given to us in our industry today that are really changing our industry, changing the value perception of who we are.
So I love this particularly because I teach people, besides sales and marketing and numbers and process, I teach them how to market themselves, right? And this, to me, as you were talking, and it got a little scientific at times, I thought, let's bring this to the layman level and just say, designers can now have proof for their clients, and it could be another way for them to market and sell themselves if they can tie their work to helping someone's health. So explain to everybody what the Science and Design Summit is.
Well, the Science and Design Summit that will happen on October 15th, both online and at High Point Furniture Market at the Universal Furniture Showroom. It's essentially, we've pulled together some of the leaders in the science industry, in the medical industry, and also some of our fellow partners like at Crestron and Sherwin-Williams and Universal Furniture. And for instance, I'm going to be interviewing the executive director of the Brain Science Institute at Johns Hopkins University. Her name is Susan McSalmon, and she is one of the world's leading neuroscientists, and she specializes in neuroaesthetics, which is the convergence. That's really where this is all fitting in. Neuroaesthetics is really the convergence of science and design, science and aesthetics, science and beauty. And she talks, it's interesting. She'll be a very interesting talk because she says that the need for aesthetics is part of our evolutionary inheritance. It's encoded in our DNA because as humans, we were born into aesthetics and beauty. And so We need that. It's fundamental to us. And so what the point is that designers are actually providing something that shouldn't be considered an elective. It shouldn't be considered passive. What designers are doing today is providing something that is fundamentally needed and encoded in our DNA. And Susan will talk about that at the summit. We also have Don Ruggles, the author of Beauty, Neuroscience, and Architecture, speaking on patterns and fractal beauty. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a full day event, and designers will have the option of attending part of it or attending part of it later, because the full summit will be on my website for 30 days. And so if you have a couple of hours to give us on Friday, October 15th, great. And you can see the rest of it. It's 6 CEUs credit, by the way.
That's huge.
Yeah. And they're all in the health and safety category. So it's going to be fun.
So why do you think this is so timely to start this science and design and really start educating designers right now in what's going on in the world?
Well, there's been a growing interest for the last 20 or 30 years in the world of science in bringing to all of our attention the benefits of beauty and the arts and good design. But certainly, I think there's no question in the last 2 years, there's almost like a spike. There's almost like an exclamation point because of what we've all gone through and how important it is to understand the need and the health benefits of the proper environment in your home. And I might want to add, by the way, one of the other people that we'll be bringing to the summit is the head of medicine, the School of Medicine at the University of Texas in San Antonio. And I use a quote from her in my basic presentation. And the quote is, "Architects and designers have a greater ability to improve health than medical professionals."
Wait, say that again.
Architects. This is from the head of medicine at the University of Texas. "Architects and designers have a greater ability to improve health than medical professionals." Now, if that doesn't spin all of our heads, I mean, if that doesn't give us all goosebumps right now.
It just did, actually. That's funny you said that.
Yeah.
I thought that's exactly what happened to me. And I think that's when you and I spoke before this presentation. I was like, yes, I have to have you on, and I have to have you teaching what you're starting to absorb and learn and expand your knowledge base on how important it is for designers are really helping people in so many more ways than they think they're helping people.
Oh my gosh. I mean, the people that we trust with our health are the people saying we have a better chance of improving health than they do. And they realize, there's another quote from the head of the Center for Innovation at the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota, Dr. Wood, who says the future of medicine is in the home, because science knows that the home can help prevent and help cure. And
one of the things you said to me when we first spoke was humans need nature, or the human need for nature. Explain that, because that was fascinating to me. And I feel like, again, some of this stuff is innate. We may know it, but we've never had the scientific proof behind it. But explain to me what that means.
Well, I will. Let me paint a picture, though, and see if I can position this.
Okay.
If we were all to walk into the woods today or into the forest, we would see trees, we would see plants, we would see flowers and animals. If they could talk, what do you think they would say to us? I think they would say, "Welcome home," because they would look at us as a fellow living organism. And we forget that we are nature ourselves, because we're so surrounded by brick walls and roof lines and concrete and plate glass windows. And we're so distracted by the daily phone and computer and all of the stuff that we have to live with. We forget that we're first humans, we're nature. And so we are going to be teaching a class at the summit called Biophilia, the Human Need for Nature. And part of that presentation will include things like prospect and refuge, which is a guiding principle of biophilic design. Prospect and refuge is essentially sitting in a safe place in your home with a view to the outside, where you're looking out at opportunity and prospecting. We're going to be talking about fractal beauty. It's funny because most of my clients in what I do don't know what the word fractal means, yet they use fractals in their design all the time.
What does it mean?
I knew you were going to ask that. Well, the best way to think about fractals is think of a fern, and you see similar patterns extending through the length of a fern, but they're decreasing in size to the tip. Yep. So fractal patterns are geometric shapes and forms that are of changing scale. And so the clouds are fractals. If you stand at the base of a tree and you look up into the limbs, that would be a fractal image. Stone walls that you see all the time in New England, that separate properties, would be considered fractals. And if you want to know more, you have to come to the summit.
You know me, I'm not a designer, but I do find this interesting because I have designers who are coaching with me now who are trying to find their niche, right? Their niche is so important to them, distinguishing themselves from their peers in the same neighborhood. I don't like to use the word competition. I don't believe in competition, right? I believe in presenting yourself the way you are, with what your interests are, what your style is. This is coming up more and more as a niche that people want to focus on, like tying the beauty of interior design to health. But if you are like me, you want to have the science behind it, not so you can talk over your clients' heads, so you can convert it to what they can actually understand.
Exactly.
And I think that's important that you had said to me there, you're really going to make sure at this summit that, yes, you have to go over the science just like you're in class, but then you bring it down to the level of what they're going to be able to walk away with to explain it in layman's terms to a client, correct?
Yeah, anytime I do a seminar or a series of seminars, there's always a component that applies the knowledge. And so we will provide the knowledge and then essentially say, okay, now here are some steps that you can take, action steps. Here are several ways that you can begin to use this in your business. And it's interesting because I want to invite everybody to go to the Clark and ClarkInteriors.com website. They're a design firm in Charlotte that came to one of our Design Harmony and Science seminars last August. And they decided they were already doing intuitively some of the things that we were talking about. And they decided they were going to own it in Charlotte. And so go to their website, take a look at the way they look at design harmony, the way they look at biophilic design. And the website's been up for 2 or 3 months now, and it's just, they're killing it. They want to be an early adopter. They want to distinguish themselves in the marketplace from all the rest of the designers that are just designing. And they're not taking, the rest of the designers in Charlotte aren't necessarily taking credit or providing the health concept in what they say and what they do with their clients.
Right. And, I'm known from Luann Nagara's podcast for my sentence, niche is rich and broad is broke, which is the New York way of saying it. Yeah. And so many designers struggle with trying to figure out what their niche is. And if they're interested in providing better health and taking that angle in their marketing, this is the place they have to be. Be, like you said, an early adopter. The early adopters in everything in life always end up making all the money, right?
Yep, they own it. Absolutely, they own it. And I would say this, that it's not so much if they're interested in providing health. Good designers already provide health. Yes. What they don't realize is that that's what they're doing, and what they're not doing is marketing that value proposition that they're already providing. So why are we giving value away, for instance, And why aren't we charging more now that we know that we provide health? And I think it's a very important point that I think the design industry is leaving money on the table.
Yeah, they're leaving money on the table.
Yep. The designers that I know that have embraced this have all moved in terms of increasing revenue and increasing hourly rates and fees, because they're not just creating a pretty room. They're actually lowering heart rate. They're lowering blood pressure. They're creating galvanic skin response. That's a little too technical. But the point is, their clients are healthier as a result of what they do. So
yes. So what do you feel a designer will walk away from by being part of this summit, either in person, if they're going to be in High Point a couple of days early? Give the date again.
October 15th.
Okay.
8:30 to 4 o'clock at the Universal Furniture Showroom.
And 6 CEUs for attending live or virtually?
Online or virtually. And the nice thing is that we're going to archive. I want to repeat this because this is important. If you don't have a full day to give this and you want to show up for a couple of classes on the 15th, know that the whole summit will be archived on my website, visionarydm.com, in the education tab. And you'll be able to take the rest of the classes over the next 30 days at your convenience.
And I put a link in the description above to
Good, thank you.
Register for this event. They have to register for the event, virtual registration or in person. But in person is going to be, it's always so much better. But don't hesitate if you want to learn about this subject to sign up virtually. So you hear the beeping truck outside my window right now?
I do.
See, I told you.
And thank God my lawn guys have finally left.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You were worried about your lawn guys, and I end up having a beeping truck outside my window. Working from home, the joys. Everybody knows who watches my lives. You know what? Dogs bark, doorbells ring, trucks beep. It is what it is. Right. We're still providing great information. So, all right. What can a designer feel like they're going to walk away with by going to the Science in Design Summit?
They're going to be empowered. And their confidence will grow. One of the things I find in working with designers is, a lot of people, but also designers, is that we don't all have the confidence that we should have. And knowledge creates confidence. Yes. Knowledge creates a sense of assuredness. And they're going to be empowered to be able and walk away and say, I need to get on this. I need to distinguish myself in the marketplace. You know, I mentioned that I was in publishing. One of the things that really bothered me is that I might carry 20 different designer ads in one of my issues. And every one of the ads was a picture of a room with a logo at the bottom of the page. And what I did one time, and as we were paginating the magazine, I took all the designer ads and put them on a table. You couldn't tell them apart. One of the biggest, you could have swapped all the logos out and nobody would know the difference. This summit and the marketing that can be done as a result of this knowledge will separate an interior designer from the rest of the pack. There's just no question about it.
I love it. And to me, that's the ending sentence. It will distinguish you from the rest of the pack if you start embracing the science behind design.
Yep.
And this is really the first place that I've seen that's doing an entire summit, multiple learning opportunities over one day, right?
One day.
They'd be silly to miss it if they are available, right? It's just such an opportunity. I love it.
And even again, I do hope you can make it to High Point, but if you can't, join us online. I know already that we're going to have a full audience online, so feel free to join us online. Okay.
Any final words that we didn't cover that you wanted to cover, Mike?
Not that I can think of offhand. I just want to thank you, though, for having me on.
You're welcome.
And I will say that I think this is a game changer for our industry. I don't think there's any doubt about it. The people I talk to that have embraced this have become much more successful. And I hope that your listeners see this as an opportunity for themselves as well. Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome. And I'm happy to have you here. I think my followers know that I don't put anyone live in this group unless I really stand behind what they're doing and I trust what they're doing. And your reputation in the industry over the years is exemplary. And this new avenue that you're passionate about is actually driving my passion as well, which is hard to do. So I think it's amazing. And I think anyone who's listening, sign up, hopefully in person, if you're going to be in High Point. If not, do the virtual, get the CEUs, but more importantly, get the education. It's going to give you the confidence to talk to your client and prove to them your value in more than just making their home beautiful, but making it healthier for them to live in. So, all right, these are our final words. Click the link above, everyone. Register for the Science and Design Summit. And you know what? I might just register for online as well, since I'm going to be traveling to High Point the day after, because I'd love to learn all these details as well. So thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye, everyone. Go have a great Thursday, and I will see you next week.